Hey, this is Rocket Brain Surgeon, and today we're looking at a confrontation battle on Ruinberg. I'm in the T-62A, and it's against the German vehicles. Now, the German vehicles are a lot better in confrontation at Tier 10 than I originally expected them to be. And the reason why is pretty simple. A lot of them have huge alpha, the E100, the JP100, the WTF100. All of them are just big alpha tanks. Even the E50 and the JT at Tier 9 have larger alpha than their counterparts. They also have just a pile of hit points. The E100 and Maus are just huge hit point sinks. They also have greater armor than average. E50, E50M are heavily armored medium tanks. Meanwhile, on the RU side, the IS-7, not great firepower. IS-4, not great firepower or great armor. The T-62, low alpha tank, low armored tank except for the turret. So you have to try and make this strategy for the Russian tanks work against the German tanks. I'm in the T-62A, and the strengths of the tank are high damage per minute, good mobility, and good camouflage, and I'm going to try to use that camouflage on this map to my advantage over my German opponents. And right away I'm able to spot a JT in the distance and get the first shot off. An E50M pops up here, and I do not want to brawl with an E50M. He deals 390 damage per shot. I only deal 320 damage per shot. My damage per minute is more than him. However, he has a JT backing him up. So I kind of move back. I'm forced to burn a repair kit as he tracked me, but I don't really want to pick a fight here. I set up a side scrape as my teammate is derping, so I might as well get a couple shots on the E50M, being as protected as possible. Still trying to hide from the JT in the distance. There's no reason to expose myself to both tanks. Still kind of hanging out in this little village. The difficulty is my teammate is already low on HP, and there are only two of us with not a lot of backup from either the base or A0. So if we get into trouble, there's going to be real problems. So I'm trying to do a little bit of scouting. I see an E100 come up. I shoot through a wall. The latest patch change made that you can shoot through destructible objects, and it keeps its penetrating power. In the previous patches, the shot would die when it hit the fence post or bridge, but the shot that I had a good chance. So I get a parting shot off in the E50M. He tags me too. As I'm retreating, I'm pointing my turret back. When you use the right mouse button to use the third-person view, it locks your turret in place. So I can keep the hardest part of my tank pointed backwards just in case a shot flies into the turret. It's a good thing to do because a lot of the time the ammo rack is located in the rear of the turret, and you do not want to get hit there. Other reasons for locking the turret as you travel: when you move the turret, that increases the reticle size, which increases your aim time. So if you're moving around and you want to keep your aim time low, that's how you can do it, lock the turret. So I get back into another position. Remember, I want to use my strong camouflage to my advantage. I do get spotted, but I have cover to hide behind. And I can pop out while I'm off radar, aim, take a shot. Yeah, I'll be lit, but then I disappear for a couple seconds and go off radar and re-engage. I do not want to get in close with these higher hit point, higher alpha tanks. I'm able to spot an E50M coming along the way. I miss a shot, but I'm not too terribly worried. The Germans have less camo than the Russian tanks, so that's why I'm able to spot him before he spots me. Again, I'm using that strong camo to my advantage. I don't need to get in close where their hit points and their alpha are going to make a difference. So I'm just kind of hanging out. There's very little spotting me here. I'm kind of waiting for him to come around the corner in case he decides just to wait until I shoot. Spot another E50M, get a couple shots on him. There's also a TD back in that village, so we were going to get overwhelmed pretty darn quick. I do get spotted, so I need to pull back into cover. I screw up and catch my rear wheel on the building, so I take a couple shots that I really should not have taken there. But the situation is still pretty much in flux. The enemy team has a good middle presence. However, I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at. The E50 that's closest to me is dead, so even if we trade hits, he's going to die and I am not. I do like being able to spot behind the bushes, and the camo is so strong, even when I shot, the enemy team still doesn't see me. That's fantastic. I'm letting a bunch of low percentage shots fly, however they're low risk as well. Since I'm not spotted, there's no reason not to. Any of those shells that would hit him would kill him. I catch the E50 in transition back to the middle, and suddenly we're kind of up 9-6 with a pretty solid position. The city surprised me and was able to overcome the German tanks. Typically in pub games, a lot of the RU and the US tanks have problems with high hit points, high alphas in city environments, as they tend to trade hits, and that means the German tanks are just going to win every time. So I'm going to relocate. I know that the E50 that was in A0 is dead. There's one E50 that's in the village, and he's caught booking it down to the city. There's a JT which I didn't know about in the city, and the Waffle is over in the city as well. So I'm going to go try and spot and flank those tanks, but it should be a relatively straightforward victory from this point. I was able to put good work in the field throughout this game because I made the German tanks play in a Russian environment. The Russian teams in confrontation are going to have a lot of mediums at tier 10, and you want to make sure that you play that type of game where you're relying on vision mechanics, you're relying on mobility, and you're not just trading shots with the enemy. Hope you enjoyed. Happy hunting.